Hey friends, happy Friday. Hope you're having a wonderful week and are enjoying the good weather we had and that we're probably going to come that's coming back later, hopefully the end of this week. Um, it's been exciting today. I know it's been kind of not so great weather and really windy outside, and I thought tonight would be a perfect time to talk about how and what birds do during storms, whether it be windstorms or rainstorms. But storms, what do they do? How do they handle that? And how do how can we help? So I figured we'd talk just about that tonight. So that's going to be our big focus, thanks to one of our recommended topics. So thank you. I think it was Catherine for giving us that topic. So thank you. Of course, if you have another topic that you would like us to talk about on Friday Lives, drop it in the comments. I'm always looking for feedback on what you guys want to learn more about. So if you have a topic or a question burning inside you, put it in the comments, and I'll likely answer it in the comments. But I'll also keep it in my back pocket for other topics on other Fridays. Tonight we're gonna do kind of a quick uh, short Friday Live because tonight is the last class for the Avian Artistry Acrylics. That's our series that we were doing with Daddy's Art Studio in Plainfield. We did the pencil, then we did inks, and then we did watercolor, which was so fun. And then tonight we're doing acrylics over in Daddy's Art Studio. So that is starting at 7. So I need to quickly get this on the show on the road so that I have time to get over there to do that class with them, because that's going to be so fun. But happening this weekend, specifically on Sunday, we have some hedgehogs come into our store for a fun meet and greet. This is a free animal ambassador program done by Incredible Bats. They have numerous animals and they bring a lot of their animals throughout the year here at the store. But on Sunday, they are specifically bringing hedgehogs to celebrate the start of spring's arrival coming soon. And this is a cool way to get hands on with some of these critters. You can hold them and touch them and things like that. It sounds like we're going to have a pretty good turnout, so we're excited for that. But if you have a tight schedule, I'd highly recommend you come early so that you don't have to stand in a long line to potentially even see or hold one of these hedgehogs. So just something to think about. I also want to kind of touch base on what's happening with in March. We have quite a lineup of happening, but first, to start off, in the first weekend, the first Saturday of the month is March 7th, and we're having 2 awesome events that weekend. We have Grace's Gnomes. She is a 23-year-old local with Down syndrome, but she makes the most incredible gnomes. They are so cute, and she's actually making some that are bird themed. So really excited to host her back. It really gives her purpose, but actually we love her products, so win-win for everyone there. On that day, she will be here from 10 to 2, but all day, what's happening is we're having our Cash for Trash event. It will be coming back. And I'm so excited to share that it's coming back, because while, yes, we do collect your plastic from the seed bags, which is unrecyclable in your normal recycle pickup, we do take them in here. Now, historically, when we started our recycling collection program, we were donating to other organizations who were like schools that were collecting the plastic through another program where they were getting benches or money towards their organization. Well, for a little bit there, we lost a organization, and there was no local organization or a group that was doing this program. So we kind of had to stop the major Cash for Trash events, because I didn't have somewhere to bring this big influx of plastic that I was collecting on one day. Now, when we didn't have it, I was bringing it to other locations such as Jules and other places that collect plastics, this type of plastic, but bringing it in smaller bulk, so that it was more manageable for them. But we are in luck because Wilmington Township, their park district, is now collecting plastics again for a program where they're going to earn benches for their community. So we are happy to say that Trash for Cash, or Cash for Trash, is coming back. So how that works, if you're not sure on what that is, Cash for Trash it's a name for our program, a day event where you can bring in up to 5 bags of empty seed bags from Wild Birds Unlimited, for cash. Now, it's obviously not real cash. This is what we call bird bucks. And the bird bucks are good for anything in the store, seed, food, gift, anything like that. You can earn up to $5 in bird bucks. So how it'll work is, you bring in your bags. We do ask that you turn them inside out and kind of dust off any debris, because that's not good for when they go to the plastic recycling center. So we want to do our part and help out that process, keeping them clean. So return your bags clean, and then we're going to reward you for helping us recycle. And it should be a fun a day. So really cool. You can use the bird bucks on a purchase that day, or we will give you a coupon to take with you to use the next time that you come. But that's happening on the 7th, all day event, Cash for Trash, while Grace's Gnomes pop-up will be here too. Then we have a bird outing on March 9th at 9 a.m. So this is now our spring session. So for the winter and fall, we kind of go back to 9:30. But in the spring, we want to hike it up a half hour earlier just to kind of help, because the bird action is really good in the morning. And if we hit too late in the day, in the morning, we might miss some of the good bird activities. So in March, we're going back to 9 a.m. We meet at the same place, Rock Run Preserve, at the Black Road Access. I'll meet you in the parking circle. We'll go over optics and all that, and then we'll be on our way. I highly recommend you dress for the weather and to bring your own optics. Also happening in March, we have Wings and Talons coming in. So we're going to be doing they're going to be bringing some of their birds, their ambassador birds, from 11 to 2 p.m. I don't know exactly what birds we're getting yet, but I've heard that we're going to be getting an owl and possibly 1 or 2 other birds. So that's really exciting. So we should see more from that. I am going to be running a donation collection for them. They're in need of some supplies and things for their facility to take care of their birds. So I figured we could definitely help them out there. So I'll have a bin for collection, and of course you're going to be gifted something in return when we do that. So, but more news on that coming soon. Just wanted to share some of those things that are coming down the pipeline. There will be others for March, but that's what I am releasing for now. All right, keep you on your toes, or what else is happening in March. What else? Oh yes, I want to talk about this real quick. Hold on. Oh, 1 second. Mom, can you bring me that Hummingbird Central thing on the printer, please? I have a really cool map I want to show you. I want to talk about the hummingbird migration, because the hummingbird countdown is coming. It's happening. It started now. So I wanted to share this with you because I printed this off just a moment ago. This is straight from Hummingbird Central, which is one of the great resources we use to predict when hummingbirds are going to be in our area. So this is, I believe it's hummingbirdcentral.com or maybe .org. But you just type in Hummingbird Central in Google, I'm sure it's going to come up. They have a couple migration maps on there, and one of them is for hummingbirds, and it's the first sighting. So as you can see on our map here, they are starting to come up. So they're kind of mostly in the Florida range, um, just hitting the bottom of Georgia, but they are making their way here. And the guys that are over here, and I know it all looks kind of red to you, but I'm telling you, when you're looking at the map online, they're a little bit different because they're signifying different types of hummingbirds that are on the move. So over here, we're in the Florida range, are our hummingbirds. Those are our ruby-throat hummingbirds. They are starting to make their way north. How exciting is that? They're coming back, and I think soon our countdown will get closer and closer until their arrival. So it's really, really exciting. Over here on the west are Anna's hummingbird. So that's what's over here. And then you actually might see this one little dot right there that's actually much darker than the other colors, and that is a black-chinned hummingbird. So those aren't hummingbirds that are black-chinned, and the Annas are not in our area. They will not come to Illinois, but I think it's fun to kind of show how all these different hummingbirds are starting to be on the move and the countdown is beginning. It doesn't mean, though, that you should start dusting off that hummingbird feeder just yet, because there is still some time before they're actually going to be here. They will be here. Typically in our area, they can arrive in Illinois as early as April, but they're likely, the majority of them won't arrive until May. So we still have plenty of time. In the meantime, instead of worrying about necessarily what's happening with the hummingbirds and where they are and are they going to show up any day now, instead, I would rather you focus your efforts on helping the birds in your backyards right now, because as we talked about last week, February is a rough time for birds in general. Food resources, natural resources are low. Those things that have been from fall and early winter are now way depleted, and we don't have the insects and other vegetation that is blooming yet. So February is a really critical time where your feeders play a huge role. So make sure that your feeders are full and keep them fresh and ready, and we will start seeing more things pop up as the weather gets better. But help your birds now by keeping your feeders full with that high fat foods. It's really going to help them out and get them in the spot that they need to be prepared for spring nesting season. So I know you guys are great with your birds, so make sure that you do that. I know if you didn't see, we have red-winged blackbirds back in town, and I was singing, I had in my head, I had the boys are back in town, that song stuck in my head all week, because every time I saw those red-winged blackbirds, those boys, I kept thinking about that song, because they do arrive way before the females. So, and they sure are a huge signifier to me that spring is going to be here soon, because they do truly move out of our area for winter and the non-breeding season, and then they only arrive back in town when it's the beginning of nesting season, breeding season for them. So the guys are here because they're setting up territories and their spot, and when the ladies come in, they're going to try to get them to come into their territory and be their mates. So kind of exciting. Things are changing. The seasons are changing, and there are going to be changes for birds. But let's talk real quick. And before I do that, I do want to mention that don't forget, Daily Savings Club members, your member-only special this month for the additional extended sale for our seed sale that goes all month for you guys is ending on the 28th. If you didn't know, today's the 20th. So the 28th is only 8 days away. We only have 2 more weekends, 2 more Saturdays before that sale ends. So if you want to stock up on your feeding supplies and food, definitely come in and take advantage of that 15% off plus an additional 5% off. Earn your points. Get those birdies fed. All right, let's get to it. I want to talk about what birds do during storms and how we can help them. Couple things that we wanted to talk about with that is that what do they do, and the 2 main things that they do is they hide out. So, and we're talking small songbirds. So these are your feeder birds. What are your feeder birds doing during storms or windy weather? What are they doing? Well, most of the time they're hiding out. You don't often see birds actually flying during rain. And the reason for that is because the air actually changes, and it makes it much more difficult for them to fly when the atmosphere is raining. It changes the air itself. So that's why you don't see many birds flying around in the rain, even though they are pretty much waterproof. But that extra challenge when it comes to flying in rain really gives them a harder challenge. And once they stop, then they have to, there's a lot that goes snowballing with those issues. So what do? Well, a lot of them are hiding out. Where are they hiding out? Well, it depends on the type of bird. So let's say we're talking about chickadee, nuthatches, woodpeckers, kind of birds that use cavities. Those birds are hiding out in a tree cavity or a roosting pocket, something like this, right? Something like this or like this. These are quick little getaways for a winter storm. Whether it's a winter storm or a rainstorm, it's going to provide a little bit of shelter right when they need it. So there's something like this. Other things could be like a roosting box. So this is an example of one of our roosting boxes. This is actually convertible. So when it's in nesting season, you put the hole on top. When it's a roosting box, you put the hole in the bottom so that warm air is trapped inside. But inside here, you'll see there's all this like little ladder, and that's a perching ladder. So if this is being used as a roosting box, you wouldn't believe me, but I'm telling you, more than a dozen birds could fit in a box like this. They'll just all kind of pile in there and conserve energy and stay warm, ride out the storm, and then when it's good weather, they'll come out all out. So that is something that they do. But what about birds that don't use cavities? And I'm talking like your perching birds, right? Cardinals, your finches, your blue jays, just to name a few. They are doing something completely different because most of the time they're roosting in the trees. Well, when a storm comes, what do? Well, they usually will pick a really thick branch or near the trunk, and they'll kind of position themselves so that they're sitting where the wind and the rain are blocked. So that's one way that they do it. Birds have a really cool feature in their feet. And I know that their feet are so cool, and I talk about their feet all the time. But did you know that when perching birds are relaxed and they are sitting, they have an automatic reflex to grasp? So that's how they're able to sleep, perching on the birds and not fall off. They are naturally, when they relax, they grip really tight and they are able to sit there. So that's kind of what perching birds do, is they kind of hide in those areas and kind of wait out the storm. Now, other birds like your herons, your ducks and things like that, they don't care. And a lot of them will just swim in the water as if nothing was wrong. Some of them will hide closer to vegetation to kind of block some of the wind and rain. But a lot of them just are out in the open doing their bird things like normal. They're built pretty incredible, right? Other things that you can do to help birds during storms, there's a couple of them I thought of. Obviously, provide that high energy food, right? Winter Blend right now is great because I know we had some warm days there and we got all tricked out that it was going to be spring, but truthfully, the season is still winter, so we want to provide those high fat foods, and Winter Blend is the top of the top best that you can provide for them. So I would definitely recommend providing any high fat foods, but specifically Winter Blend is a great option. I would provide shelter, and that may be roosting pockets or roosting boxes like this. I would also think about other things I can add to my yard. Spring is going to be coming before we know it, so think about what you could add to your yard potentially that could provide natural shelter, such as a shrub or a tree that could provide natural shelter. The other things I would recommend doing in a storm or before a storm is to protect your feed and food. That's when we talk about weather guards. So this is an example of one of our weather guards. And it fits perfectly on this seed tube right over the handles. And what it's going to do, it's going to protect the food in the feeder below the perches and things, the ports here to get into the food from the rain and weather. So obviously it's not good when your feed gets wet inside because one, can get kind of gross and clumpy, and then the birds don't even want to come and eat from your food, your feeder. So it's best to keep it protected. And this is what I would highly recommend when we're going into a storm so that you can protect your food, because a couple things are going to happen. Birds right before a storm are going to fill up on the food because they know that they're probably going to have to hide out for a little bit of time. So they want to make sure they have a full belly and maybe can spend the night without additional food. So they're going to fill up on food before the storm comes. And you might be able to recognize that. You might be able to say, hey, I know that the storm's predicted to come in a little bit. Man, are my feeders banging right now? And that is exactly why, because they know, and they're filling up reserves so they can spend several hours potentially without foraging for food. And then once the weather breaks, they'll be back. Now, after the storm is equally as important as protecting your food before the storm, right? Now, after the storm, we're mostly going to check our feeder, right? We're going to physically go out there and shake up the food inside. If the food in here is clumping and you see like circles of balls of food together, it's likely because water and moisture has gotten in there and it's sticking together. My recommendation would be to empty out that seed and refill new. Okay? Check for other things. Check for damage. You know, storms can be kind of wicked sometimes, and you wouldn't want to potentially have a harmful, dangerous feeder because it has a crack in it or something sticking out that it shouldn't. Protect your feeder, protect your food, and give it a once over. Make sure it's good, and then refill and make sure that those feeders are full with that high protein food, because the birds, once the storm is over, they're going to be back. They're going to be back and eating galore because they're going to need to replenish reserves that they've lost overnight, not eating, waiting out the storm. But they're also going to need it for the rest of the day. So your feeders are going to play a big role in February. Can the birds rely on you? Okay. One other thing I want to share with you, I don't know if you saw the post earlier this week, but we have new seed wreaths for spring that have come in. So I figured I'd show you those real quick before I get off here. The spring wreath, we've had this wildfire wreath numerous springs. There is going to be one other special release, new released seed wreath coming out around Mother's Day, so stay tuned for more information on that. But this is a great offering for birds during the spring or almost spring. It's a great way to, in my opinion, right now, it's been so dreary. We're itching for spring to be here. So putting up a seed wreath like this is a great way to start thinking spring without going full-blown spring yet. This blend is wonderful. It has peanuts and sunflower seeds, safflower and natural safflower, and a little bit of millet too. So really great mix. Everyone's going to love it. These seed wreaths have a mesh net that comes with them. So if you don't have the wreath holder feeder, you could just use the mesh bag that's in here, or just hang it up like it is and put it on a shepherd's hook. So really the option is yours, but it's a great addition to your yard, to existing feeders that you already have. Another option that's brand new, is so excited that they finally made us a spring season hot pepper wreath. This guy is called the Flaming Hot Feast Wreath, and yes, it is specifically formulated to deter the squirrels due to the brain receptor that only mammals have. So your birds don't care if it's hot or not, and they will gladly eat from this, but the squirrel won't like it so much. This has the wonderful same Flaming Hot Feast if you use any of our other Flaming Hot Feast products. It has some mealworms in it. It has peanuts, natural safflower, and sunflower seeds. But pretty awesome, right? So a great way to get into the spring feeling by utilizing some of our seed wreaths that we've just gotten in. and hopefully they'll last by the end of the weekend because we've been flying out of them. So it's kind of exciting. But guys, you guys have a wonderful weekend. I hope I'll see you this weekend, either tomorrow or Sunday for Hedgehogs. We can't wait to see you. Don't forget, DSC members, your extended shade sale, bird food sale, extended sale ends this next Saturday, the 28th. So be sure that you stop in and stock up. And thank you so much for supporting us. And we'll see you next Friday around 5:30 to tell you what's happening and what's new at Wild Birds Unlimited in Joliet. All right, guys. Thanks so much and have a great evening.